Hi everyone, welcome to the Movie Reception Show. My name is Fariba, and this morning, I actually did not know we were going to get this, but this morning we just got the first trailer for Andor Season 2. I feel like it's been quite a long time since we've seen Andor. I think I did reactions to the episode on this channel, or at least, I don't know if I did the whole season. I can't remember. It's been a while, but wow, I can't believe we're finally getting Andor Season 2. Now, of course, this means that, after this, that's the end of it. I believe it was always intended to be a 2-season series, which makes sense because, one, we already know what happens to Cassian with regards to Rogue One. And really, this is just an origin story, like him right before joining the Resistance. And from what I've heard is that I believe every 3 episodes covers like a specific gap of like the timeline leading up to Rogue One. If that's what I believe that's how they're kind of doing it. So yeah, I mean, I'm very excited. Andor is honestly one of the best things to come out of Star Wars since post Rise of Skywalker, which, I mean, there's really not much you can really say. I mean, aside from Andor, the only other thing that has been honestly super great has been Mandalorian, although again, season 3 was a bit of a letdown. Ahsoka was alright. I was a bit disappointed with Obi-Wan. The Book of Boba Fett wasn't great, and then we already know what happened with Acolyte. I think I did a whole like series with that. Although the one thing that was great about the Acolyte was the 2 characters, Chimere and Soul, and that was just about it, right? So yeah, but it's nice to see that we're finally getting back, honestly, the best, I guess I can say the best Star Wars series that's out there. It's very different. I mean, first off, it's very different, it's far more mature. And yeah, we also get to see a very, interesting character like Cassian and knowing what his life was like before it. And that's, of course, coming from the fact that it's coming from, honestly, one of the best movies to come out of Star Wars, which is Rogue One, of course. So, and I know we had to wait like a while for this. I think the strikes had delayed it for a while. They even start filming this until like last year. And then, yeah, it feels like it's been a while since we've had, I've watched Andor, so I'm gonna have to rewatch this. But now we got the first trailer. So without further ado, let's get right down into watching the first trailer for Andor.
We're in a war. You wanna fight? Or you wanna win?
Of course, yes. Saw Gerrera.
Let the world had turned around. All our hopes have come to be. The revolution starts now.
And there's Van Mendelsohn.
Remember this moment. You're here, you're right here, and you're ready to fight.
That was a trailer for Andor Season 2, and do I have a lot to say about it? So yeah, let's start off by saying that I'm not a big fan of that music. I feel like the music kind of really threw me off a little bit. I get why they use that music choice. I mean, you can literally hear them saying the revolution. I mean, that makes sense. What's happening between Season 2 up to Rogue One is basically Cassian joining the Resistance, and that's clear from looking at the visuals, which we'll talk about in a second. But I did not like the music. I feel like the music kind of was off-putting for something like this. So that was kind of like, that's why you're probably like seeing my reaction, just like, I do not like you can tell I'm just not connecting with the trailer just because the music is so off for a series like this. So yeah, not the greatest music choice. In my opinion. Maybe there might be people who might argue with me on that. That's totally fine. I'm just not in tune with that. I feel like they could have used something else for, if you're gonna go for like any sort of score or background music, I feel like you could have used something else. I feel like where I'm having this the memories of what happened with Gladiator 2 with No Church in the Wild. But yeah, I feel like that's not the greatest music choice for it, honestly, for me, just because of the whole Star Wars universe. So that's my opinion, but I mean, other people might have other thoughts about it, so who knows. But having said that, I mean, you can just tell from looking at the previews that this is going to be far more action-packed than what we got with season 1, which makes a lot more sense, right? Because season 1 of Cassian was really just kind of focusing on the origins of who he is, right? We kind of get a little bit of a backstory about, you know, where he's from, how he was before joining the Resistance. He used to be like a thief per se, which a lot of us were really surprised to learn, considering like, you know, what we eventually see him as by the time we get to Rogue One. So just to see how he really evolves and how he starts to really kind of engage in the Resistance as a result of what's happening with the Empire. So I mean, again, that's one of the reasons why this show is so great, is that we get to see this really quality writing of this character development, that, you know, of it's just seeing them grow and evolve, and how they eventually start to kind of push their way into becoming, you know, into becoming a rebellion, right? A rebel. There you go, rebel. So, yeah, so that was the whole point of season 1. I mean, season 2 clearly is going to be just kind of the aftermath of that, right? Especially after what happened with, oh man, I forgot what her name was, but basically Cassian's adopted mother, like with what happened to her message, how she basically encourages, you know, her neighbors and her companions and everybody around, her peers, telling them to, you know, rise up against the Empire and fight for your freedom and all that sort of stuff, right? I mean, just to hear that speech from her, I mean, you can see how everyone's gonna be riled up. That's kind of, I believe, how things ended off back in season 1. And I think that in extension is what impacted Cassian as well. So, and we can just see from here, like, he is very, very much active. We can see him with his good friend and how they're trying to fight off. We can see a lot of action sequences. We're seeing things getting blown up. We're seeing blasters everywhere. We see a lot of characters showing up from Rogue One. We just saw Saw Gerrera. I forgot who's Ben Mendelsohn character was, but I know he was one of the Imperial officers. We're seeing a lot of characters coming back from Rogue One, which is great, because now we're finally starting to intertwine with, from what we saw from present, and we're kind of intertwining with what we know from Rogue One. So it's nice to see that. So it's gonna be, so you can tell it's gonna be like a full-fledged battle going on. And how Cassian, I mean, at this point, we're going to just see, I guess, like, at this point, Cassian is just someone who is starting to get into rebellion. So he's just going to start from the bottom and really rise to the occasion. Because apparently, like, if I remember, he starts to become one of the key leaders in the Resistance, because then we get up to Rogue One. So we have all that. I know for a fact, of course, that this is, from what I've read, that it's going to, like I think every 3 episodes or something like that, it covers a specific timeline. So I think it's like every episode covers like maybe 2 years or so, and then there's like a time jump, and then that covers specific number of like of years from that. So that's gonna be a very interesting part that I'm curious how they're going to execute, because that's a lot of time that they're gonna have to try and a lot of time that they have to try and cover grounds for. And that's gonna be a very interesting thing. I wonder if that's gonna work or not. Like, maybe, because like, I know a lot of people are gonna argue that's like, well, why didn't they just, you know, just do multiple seasons in that case? And then it's like, maybe there isn't really a whole lot they can cover at this point, because it is Cassian and there's just so much you can do with his character. So I'm very curious to see how they're going to execute that whole idea of let's cover each a certain number of episodes per timeline. But I'm still, this, regardless of the fact I did not like the music, the music really threw me off. I mean, it looks like it's going to be good. I like that it's going to be action packed, so it's going to be less of a slow burn from the first season, because the first season was a little bit more slow and then kind of gradually picked up. But it makes sense why it was slow, because we're kind of like concentrating on this character development of Cassian, and now we're kind of already got to a point where Cassian is very involved with the rebellion, that there's really not a whole lot you can do in terms of like trying to evolve his character other than just to see how he rises to the occasion, how he helps with the resistance, and how he starts to kind of build up in the ranks. So yeah, we'll see a lot of that, and of course his relationship with people who are close to him. So we see like oh man, I forgot her name too. I gotta rewatch. This is giving me a reminder that I need to rewatch Andor season 1 because it's been such a long time since I've seen it. Again, it's been what 2-3 years since Andor came out. What is it, 2025? I feel like it came out like maybe about 2-3 years. So it's been a long time. And so yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to rewatch it. I will rewatch it. I think I have some time to do that. I know I have to do a whole rewatch with Daredevil as well before next week. So, but it's promising still. I hope that if we're gonna get a second trailer, it's going to not use like we're not gonna use that kind of music. It's gonna be far more in tune with the whole Star Wars tone, hopefully. But I do like the fact that it is very action packed. We don't get a whole lot, of course. I mean, it is. I guess you can say it's like a teaser trailer per se, because they still have a chance to put out one more trailer because it's what, February now? I mean, it's late February now. So, but I feel like there's going to be one more trailer coming out probably by the end of next month, just to kind of give a feel of like how the story is going to be like. But even then, we got this teaser trailer. We see the previews of a lot of the characters who are coming back. We even saw Stellan Skarsgaard, right? I think his character was like Lutheran, something like that. As I said, I gotta rewatch Andor season 1. But yeah, I'm very excited to see some of the characters that have returned. The visuals, at least, look very promising. It looks action-packed. It looks like we're going to see a lot of action coming out of Cassian. I love the smile at the end too. Just seeing Diego Luna just give that smile, it's nice to see you come back after however many years that we had to wait. I mean, honestly, this is a show where I am actually kind of very angry that we had to wait this long just to get a season 2. It's like we should have gotten this last year, but also again there was the whole strike that happened, so that took up a lot of time. So that's not something that you can really do. Okay, so yeah, the strikes happened it's been 3 years, but yeah, because of strikes, that probably delayed a whole lot with Andor season 2. We're finally getting it, at least. This is going to be the end of the road, of course, for Andor season 2 as well, because this is going to be, it was always intended to be a 2-season series. But hopefully we do get one more trailer just to kind of get us pumped up for the final episodes. I cannot wait to see how they're going to kind of finish off Cassian's origin story, of course, before Rogue One. I do wonder if we're going to see Jyn Erso, because I don't know if Felicity Jones has done a lot of interviews, because I know she was in The Brutalist recently, and so there could have been questions about whether or not she could be in Andor season 2. There's always a possibility, although I wonder if Mads Mikkelsen's going to be in the season. I have to double check if they had confirmed him or not. Maybe they have. I have to see. Again, I haven't been really caught up with just the updates of the series, other than the fact that I'm just excited to see it. I've kind of been in that part of my life where I'm trying not to spoil myself too much, because I feel like that takes a lot of the enjoyment away when you watch these series, whether it be a series or a movie too, both. So, but I'm excited to see Andor. I will be doing a rewatch, hopefully, just to make sure I'm caught up, and I'm obviously going to do a whole series watch for it. I hope it's not gonna be premiering at the same time as Last of Us, though, because I know Last of Us comes out in April as well. So we're having lots of great content. So I cannot wait. But promising start. Use different music. Could have used a much better music choice, in my opinion. But I'm very excited to see Andor season 2. But yeah, I think that really kind of wraps up what I have to say about the trailer. Let me know your thoughts now, having seen the first preview. I feel like everyone has been waiting for this trailer to come up for a long time. For me, I'm a little underwhelmed because of the music, but I'm still very excited after seeing the previews because the action looks pretty great. And just to see Cassian, kind of this whole different phase of him as a rebel, it's like, oh man, I cannot wait to see how he evolves. But now that we got that preview, let me know your thoughts having seen the trailer. Like, did the music also throw you off, or do you think it's actually kind of the right music for, given the circumstance of where the story is now going? What are your thoughts about having seen the first previews? Like the fact that it looked a little bit more action-packed. Are you excited that it's going to be a little bit more of a fast pace, especially because, again, I think a certain number of episodes are going to cover a specific timeline. So it's not like, oh, we're just covering like a year or so, it's like, oh, it's gonna, like, we're gonna breeze through some years. Do you like that idea? Do you have any concerns about the execution? Do you think maybe they could have done maybe one more season just to kind of break it apart, or maybe this is the right approach? Are you excited for the series to come back? I mean, it's been like, what, 3 years? I think it's 3 years since we've seen season 1. It's like, wow, it's been that long. Are you still excited? Will you be watching it even despite the fact that it took this long? And what are your thoughts going into the series? Do you think Jyn Erso is going to show up? I can't remember if Mads Mikkelsen was going to be in this series, but I'm going to double check probably. But yeah, let me know if you have any other thoughts or concerns having now seen the first trailer for Andor season 2. Let me know your thoughts below, and make sure to like and subscribe.